unexpected turns, and unforgettable characters. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Every story is carefully narrated to create an immersive experience, and today's journey may stay in your thoughts long after it ends. People often claim that life can change in a single moment. For years, I believed that was just a comforting phrase people used when explaining difficult experiences. My own life had changed many times, but those changes rarely felt hopeful. More often, they arrived disguised as endings instead of new beginnings. My name is Emily Carter, and I was 9 years old when I finally understood that loneliness rarely crashes into your life all at once. Instead, it settles in quietly, growing a little stronger every day until you suddenly realize you can't remember the last time someone genuinely asked how you were doing. After my divorce, I continued living in the same small house at the edge of town. Friends often wondered why I never moved somewhere fresh. My answer was always simple: I couldn't handle saying goodbye one more time. Every room held memories. Some hurt to remember, while others reminded me of happier days. For years, I couldn't decide which memories deserved more space in my heart. The neighborhood itself was peaceful. Long streets lined with mature trees stretched in every direction. Children raced bicycles through the evenings, and every spring colorful blossoms covered the sidewalks like soft confetti. From the outside, it looked like the perfect place to rebuild a life. Inside my home, however, silence had become my most faithful companion. My son Ethan had left for college 2 years earlier. We talked almost every night, but hearing his voice through a phone could never replace hearing him laugh in the next room or tease me over dinner. Once our conversations ended, the quiet returned. Each weekday unfolded exactly the same way. I woke early, brewed coffee, drove to my job at the community library, greeted visitors with polite smiles, returned home, reheated leftovers, watched television without paying attention, and finally went to bed before repeating it all again. It wasn't an unhappy existence. It simply wasn't much of a life. One Saturday morning, I carried a steaming cup of coffee onto my front porch. The air still smelled of rain from the night before, and the neighborhood felt unusually peaceful. Across the street, someone struggled to keep an energetic golden retriever from stopping at every mailbox. Down the block, an elderly couple watered colorful flowers together. Without realizing it, I smiled. Then I noticed activity next door. The house beside mine had been empty for almost 6 months, but now a moving truck filled the driveway. Boxers were stacked everywhere as a tall man carefully carried furniture inside. Rather than rushing, he placed every item with patience, almost as though every box mattered. I found myself watching longer than expected. It wasn't only because he was attractive, though he certainly was. There was something reassuring about the quiet confidence in the way he worked. He carried himself like someone who had faced difficult seasons and learned patience through experience. A few moments later, he looked toward my porch. Our eyes met. He smiled first. I returned the gesture with a small wave before he disappeared inside. That brief exchange seemed like nothing important. At least, that's what I believed. The following morning, I discovered a small paper bag hanging from my mailbox. Inside were 3 homemade blueberry muffins and a handwritten note. "Hello, neighbor." I wasn't sure introducing myself while carrying furniture would have been the best first impression, so I thought breakfast might work better. "My name is Ryan. Thank you for the friendly wave yesterday. I hope we become great neighbors." I couldn't remember the last time someone had shown kindness without expecting anything in return. Maybe thoughtful neighbors still existed after all. Later that afternoon, I baked a loaf of banana bread. It wasn't my best effort. Top cracked more than usual, but it filled the kitchen with a wonderful aroma. When I reached Ryan's front door, I almost turned around. Maybe bringing homemade bread seemed strange. Before I could leave, the door opened, "Hi," he said with an amused smile. "I brought this to thank you for the muffins." He looked at the loaf before grinning. "I think we're creating a dangerous tradition." "What kind?" "The kind where neither of us ever has to cook again." For the first time in months, I laughed so hard my eyes filled with tears. The moment surprised even me. Ryan noticed but didn't ask questions. I appreciated that. Sometimes kindness isn't about searching for explanations. Sometimes it's simply allowing another person to enjoy a happy moment without interrupting it. Over the next several weeks, our conversations remained simple. "Good morning. Have a wonderful day. Need a hand with those groceries? Beautiful weather today." Nothing extraordinary happened. Yet somehow those small conversations became the brightest moments of my routine. I started noticing when his porch light came on each evening. If his vehicle wasn't in the driveway, I caught myself wondering where he'd gone. One Friday afternoon, thunder echoed across town while heavy rain reduced visibility to almost nothing. Unfortunately, that was also the day my 15-year-old sedan decided it had finally given up. After work, I climbed inside, turned the key, and heard only a weak clicking sound. Click. Another try. Click. Silence. I rested my forehead against the steering wheel. This can't be happening. A tow truck. Repair bills. More unexpected expenses. I closed my eyes. A gentle knock interrupted my thoughts. Looking up, I saw Ryan standing outside beneath an umbrella. "You look like you're losing an argument with your engine," he joked. "I think the engine already won." He laughed. "Mind if I take a look?" "I doubt it'll change anything." "Maybe not." He inspected the battery, checked several connections, and listened while I tried starting it once more. Finally, he stepped back. "I don't think this is something we can fix out here." I sighed. "I was afraid you'd say that." "Need a ride home?" "I could call a ride." "You could." I assumed the conversation was over. Instead, he stood quietly for a moment before reaching into his pocket. "I've got another idea." "What is it?" He held out his keys. "Take my car." I stared at him. "I'm sorry, what?" "My car. Use it." "No." "You answered that awfully fast, because that's an impossible offer." "I don't think it is." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "We barely know each other." He smiled. "I know enough, but it's your car. So, what if something happens to it? What if nothing does?" I crossed my arms. "You make this sound way too easy." "Maybe some things really are." Rain continued falling while people hurried across the parking lot trying to stay dry. For a moment, the rest of the world seemed to disappear. Ryan gently placed the keys into my hand. "I work from home most days, but my groceries are delivered." "I still can't." "Yes, you can." His voice remained calm and patient, as though he understood exactly why accepting help felt so uncomfortable. Then he quietly said something that completely caught me off guard. "You've spent years believing you have to carry everything by yourself, haven't you?" I looked away. How had he figured that out? He offered a gentle smile. "You don't have to answer." I didn't, because he was absolutely right. Somewhere along the way, independence had stopped being empowering and slowly become a prison. I'd forgotten what it felt like to accept someone's kindness without wondering what they expected in return. Slowly, I wrapped my fingers around the keys. "Only until my car is repaired." He nodded. "That's all I'm asking." As we headed back toward the neighborhood, me carefully driving his car while he followed behind with the tow truck, couldn't explain the feeling growing inside me. It wasn't love, not yet. It wasn't excitement either. It was something quieter, hope, the kind that arrives so gently you almost miss it. When we reached home, I thanked him again. "That's number 6, he laughed. "I'll probably say it again. I'll let you get to 7. But I'm stopping you at 8. That evening, I stood on my porch watching the rain clouds give way to a brilliant golden sunset. Hidden inside Ryan's home was a forgotten cardboard box containing an old photograph, a picture tied to a secret he had never shared with anyone in the neighborhood.